Firefox Profiles, this allows you to run Firefox with different settings in different profiles. You can see here, this is my main Firefox profile. You can see I've got it set to a dark theme. I've got some bookmarks. I've got a few extensions over here. And I'm showing the menu bar up the top and the bookmarks and so forth. This is another profile. You can see it's on standard mode, whereas the other one, the settings, the other one's on strict. This one's on standard. There's no toolbars or menu bars being shown on it. So it's like having two separate browsers, almost. It's not quite, but it's almost, it's rather similar. So all the settings and the cache, saved passwords, bookmarks, all that sort of stuff is separate. So that's why it's sort of a bit like having two separate browsers, but slightly different. Now, of course, you could use a virtual machine, which is actually what I'm doing here, or you could use a different login on the same computer, or even a different browser, be that Brave or whatever. All your security settings, extensions, cookies, all the data's separate and belongs in that profile. For example, you might have two accounts with, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, and one of them might be for home or personal use, one might be for business, work use, that sort of thing. Or if you're sharing a computer with somebody, the other person can have their stuff in a separate browser effectively. There's lots of reasons. As we get into the video and I show you how I set up my profile, you'll see the reason that I've done it the way that I've done it. All right, so this is the main profile here, this particular browser with these bookmarks. I've got a few extensions and I've got the menu bar showing up the top. I'm on strict settings. So this is the profiles page, and if you type about:profiles into the address bar and press enter, that'll bring up this page. So if we scroll down, we can see this top one, which is the one I'm in. You see the profile is called default release, and the bottom profile is just called default. And you can see here it's the default profile is yes, and this one's default profile is no. So if we stop that and restart Firefox, because it's the default profile, yes, we know that we're in default release. So if we have a look in our files, default release, this is the one we're in, and the other one, default, is this one here. I have actually started the other profile, it just hasn't updated here. If I press F5 on here, that should go up to probably 47 or 48 or so. There we go, 40 something. This has obviously got more in it because I've put some, I've changed the theming. We're on a dark theme. I've got bookmarks and extensions and so forth. So that's why it's got more items in it. But usually a new instance or a new profile will have 40 something items in it, depending probably on your system and your settings, etc. So let's get rid of the file manager for the moment, and if we have a look here, if we just scroll up a bit, we can create a new profile. So let's click on that and we'll just go next, and we're going to just run with the default. So you see here it's going for default user as the name, and we'll go next. Now the first thing we'll notice, this is us at the top here still, and you see default profile is now on no. So it's assuming, if we scroll down here, there's default user, the new one we just created, and its default profile is yes. And if we have a look here, it's going to be called default user, so it's RTH, 5R, etc. You can open its directory from there. You see there's nothing in there. And if we bring up our file manager, There it is there. So there's one item in there. So if we go and launch that now. So if we launch that one now, let's launch the profile. You'll see it'll look quite a bit different than what we're looking at there. And that's basically just a Firefox default instance or profile that we're looking at. If we get out of there, and again, if I press F5, you'll see this will probably go up to 44 items or whatever, 43 for that one. So let's go back, and I'm going to remove it. And you can don't delete files, you can cancel, or you can delete files. I'm going to delete the files. And there we're back to just 2. And if we come back here, there's just the 2 here again. It's gone from our files. See here in my downloads, I've got this profile from my actual system. So let's copy that over here into the Firefox folder. So it's L3A. And it's got 48 items in it, so I've actually used it. This time we're going to create a new profile. And we'll go next. I'm going to call it TDF. And we're going to choose the folder. And there it is there, L3A. And we'll go open. And next. And if we scroll down, once again, it set itself as the default profile, which I don't want. So what we'll do, we'll come up to the top one. And I'm going to set the top one, which is the one I'm in. I'm going to set that to default. Default is now yes, and default is no down here. So let's launch this new profile. And I'll close the main one. And that's the profile. So you can see it's got different bookmarks and so forth. It's gone to a different page. And this is the reason that I wanted a separate profile, because to log into this website and have a look at this stuff here, I had to have an account, and they didn't like the strict settings. So if we have a look at the settings here, these will be on standard, privacy and security. So here we can see that they're on standard. You can also see that the theming's light here, whereas I had a dark theme going before. So let's close out of there. Now you can, in the terminal, I'm just going to touch on this briefly. I'm not much of a terminal user. So this is Firefox space -P, and we press enter, and we get this little launcher here. I'm sorry I can't make that much bigger. But we know default release is my main system, shall we say. And there's the other one that was just called default. And there's TDF. Now here it's basically going to make it the default, so I'm going to deselect that. So here I'll select TDF and start Firefox. And it starts that one. Close out of there. And this time here, we'll do it again. And if I select default release, this should start the main one. There we go, with all our extensions and our bookmarks, etc. Or of course, we could start this, come into About Profiles, and launch the other browser from there, like that. Not very practical, so we're going to move into the next phase now. You can also, in here, if we go Firefox P space TDF, or the name of the profile, so we know one's called TDF, and press enter, that should start that one there in Tour de France mode as well. I remember several years ago, Firefox wouldn't start, and it was giving me some error about profiles. So you can actually use this command. If you're getting an error about profiles, you can use that command to launch this little thing here. and you can often fix your issues in there. You know, it might be trying to launch a corrupted profile or something like that. So that can actually be a bit of a fix as well. But that's as far as I'm going to go with the terminal. This icon down in the panel should start the main profile. There we go, with all our bookmarks and extensions. We can also, if we right click and go add to panel, we've got another one down in the panel. So that's Firefox. I think this is the new one. Let's go to its properties by right clicking it. So again, we can just go in here, space dash capital P TDF. And again, I'll name it TDF. Close. We'll just double check that the settings held on that again. And they have. So now I've got two Firefox icons. So this should start the main edition. There we go. And this one should start the Tour de France edition. Now I had trouble doing this in Cinnamon. That's why I'm doing it here in the Mate desktop. Let's also, we'll right click the menu and we'll go edit menu. You may want one of these in your menu. We'll go to internet. So here we go, there's Firefox. So let's just go new item. And the name, we'll call it TDF again. The command is going to be Firefox space dash capital P TDF again. You can give it a comment if you want. I'm not going to bother about that. And we'll go OK. And there it is there. So we'll close out of that. And now we go to the menu and go to the internet. That's all. Let's go to internet. There it is there. Let's give it a click. Should start the Tour de France version for us there. We could also, if we wanted to now, we could right click that and we could add that to the panel. Let's delete this one that we created in the panel earlier. And if we go to the menu, so we've actually got one here, so we could send that to the desktop, the panel, whatever. So let's go add to panel. And there it is there, TDF, and this one's Firefox. I'll show a little bit of the Cinnamon trouble that I had shortly. We can delete that one off the desktop. So there we have it. There's our two profiles. There's our main profile and our Tour de France profile. And again, if we look here into the settings, security, that's on standard in there. And this one here is on strict. So I'm using the same browser. This one's in strict mode. That's in standard mode. And part of the reason for that is because they require, you know, I can't run these extensions that I've got over here on the other profile. They don't like those, and they don't like the strict mode. And if we have a look here on the shield, and this is the reason why here, all these trackers and so forth, they want to keep tabs on you, obviously, and so they require you to be on a more standard sort of setting there. And that's pretty much the reason that I use the profiles, because all I want to do here is just play with this, and when I'm done, when the race is over, I'll just delete the profile off or leave it there for next year or whatever, without interfering with my main browser activities. Here we are on the Cinnamon desktop. Now this is version 21.1. Right clicking the menu, there's no option right there for the menu editor. However, if you go to configure, and I've been racking my brains for a day or two trying to sort this out. So this is menu, and if we go to menu here at the top, and there is actually a menu editor. I only just found this. Okay, so probably get rid of all that. Let's go to Internet. And you can see I've got a desktop icon up there. So I've already imported the profile here. So let's just go New Item. And we're going to call it TDF. And again, the command is Firefox space dash capital P TDF, because once again, that's the name of the profile that I've used here. So let's go OK. There it is there. Let's go to its properties and we'll click on, I could have done this before. So if we click on this icon here and we go to Applications, the system's just a bit laggy. If we type Firefox, there we go. We just want a Firefox icon. You might want to use, let's use something a bit different to distinguish it. So we'll just use this icon here. You could use any one. There's another one there. Let's, so these are just all the icons. You could basically use any. But if we go to Applications and Firefox, it's going to be more appropriate. So we'll use the brown one. Is there anything else there? We'll just go with the brown one. There we go. We'll go OK. So that's just, we can see it's still a Firefox icon. Obviously you can use any one you want, but it's distinguished with that colour. So let's close out of there. Let's have a look in the menu, Internet, and there it is. Can we right click and go Add to Panel? That did actually work. Okay, so now I've got it in the panel. Let's see if it behaves properly. So this should start the Tour de France version. Hopefully. So you can see I created one on the desktop there the other day. And that looks like we're getting the Tour de France version there. But you can see what it's done. It's actually, it's not showing. See this one here, it's got its little thing above itself. Or if we start the terminal, for example, you get the little preview above, but it's recognised that it's Firefox and there it is there. So now if I want to start Firefox again, clicking that's just going to minimise and restore it. I don't know, just holding Shift work? That looks like it works. Okay, so if you hold Shift, now we've got both of them there. Again, I'm not a Cinnamon user, so you people that use Cinnamon will probably know how to do that better than me. So this is the default profile on this system. If we go to Profiles, there it is there. Default release is that one there. And down the bottom, there's TDF, which is this one over here. Now we're on Linux Mint 21.2. It's still in beta at this current time. And if we right click the menu, we can directly edit the menu from there. Let's start Firefox. And you can see this is my main profile. And looks similar to the other systems. I've got some bookmarks, I've got a few extensions, I've got the menu bar showing up the top and so forth. And there's another profile here. So let's just launch the other profile. You'll see it's quite a bit different. The theming's different. It's a different animal. I've also copied across, where are we here? If we go to my downloads, so that's my old profile there. And if we come here and press Control H, there's Mozilla. There's Firefox, so there's 1, 2, so there's default release and default, the same as we've had on the other systems. Let's just drag this across. So that's my Tour de France one. And so let's create a new profile. And we'll go next. And again, we're going to call it TDF. I'm going to choose the folder. And there it is there, L3. And next. Again, we see what's happened is the default release or the default profile has now gone to no. And this one down here called TDF has gone to yes. So I'm going to make this one default again up the top. There we go. And we'll just launch this one to give it its first run. So this should come up the same as the others. There it is there. TDF, all looking good. Again, you can see different bookmarks and no extensions, that sort of thing there. Quite obviously a different profile. So that's all of that. So this icon down here just launches the main one with my extensions and bookmarks, etc. Let's go right click the menu and go edit menu. So this is the difference between Linux Mint 21.1 and 21.2 in Cinnamon, is that right clicking, there's an option right there to edit the menu. And this actually brought me unstuck. So here we are in the internet category. So let's go new item. And again, I'm going to call it TDF. And the command will be Firefox space dash capital P TDF. And we'll click on this icon. And we'll just type Firefox in there. And I'm just going to take, I'll take a different color. That's Firefox trunk, eh? I don't even know whether the different naming might affect the behavior. I suspect probably not, but I'm going to take that one there. Okay, so we know that the TDF one has got the brown icon. So that should be in the menu. Let's close out of there. Let's have a look in the menu. Go to Internet. There it is there. Let's right click it and go Add to Panel. Again, that's worked. It's gone straight into the panel. Let's give it a click and see if we get Tour de France, which we have. But again, it's not showing the preview above itself. That's all gone back to the main Firefox icon. And I assume if we hold down Shift and press that, it should launch the other profile, which it has. So it's not perfect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that really. It's just that you've got to hold Shift if you want to launch another browser. I suppose if I hold Shift and press that again, yeah, it's going to launch a third one for us. Just that by creating this icon in the menu and sending it to the panel, it doesn't behave the same as the others. Now, I don't know if there's a way to fix that or not. I'm not a Cinnamon user. It is what it is. Probably if you're running a separate browser like Brave or something like that, it would have its own behavior down there, I would imagine, because I've done this with a few other things. You know, if you right-click the calculator and add to the panel and launch the calculator, you know, it's behaving correctly. Whereas this one here, because we've created it manually or for whatever reason, it's not even showing us a preview of the thing the same as the other icons do there. I'm not a Cinnamon user, so that's about as far as my knowledge goes there. We can probably drag that across. Looks like we can. I'll just show one other thing here. Let's go. There's something to do with the book list or something here. Let's have a look. Let's go to Applets. What's it called? Grouped window list. That's it there. Okay. Now this is a grouped window list. Let's think, can we right click? Remove group window list, just in case you somehow or other you do what I did and you screw it all up like that. Turn panel edit mode off. If we go back to Applets and we go grouped window list and hit the plus, you see it adds on to the right hand side. Looks like it's still working. Now you can't actually delete it in here. Oh yes, you can now. Whoops. I tried it the other day. Maybe it was on a different version, but I couldn't actually remove it from here because it said that it was... I did this the other day and that was actually greyed out, but I think because I've recreated it and it doesn't look like it's got my TDF icon in it. However, I'm just going to show you this because I went through this aggravation the other day. So if we go into panel edit mode, I think, yes, there we go. Panel edit mode. Now we can drag the whole thing. You can't put it just there, it'll just zip back. If we drag that again and go past the Linux Mint logo, go right up to the end there somewhere and just dump it up there. And now we can just drag the Linux Mint one back to there. And this vertical line, which is a little separator, you can also drag, and there it is there. And turn off panel edit mode, and we're pretty much back to how we were. They might be in a different order. I don't know if we've lost the show desktop icon. But anyway, that's how you can recover. Let's go back to internet and add this to the panel. That's okay. Show desktop in there. It's not, so you'd probably have to add that back in. So if we went back into applets and show desktop, there it is there. Okay, let's put it over here. Can we drag it from there? Probably not. Let's right click it. No. Panel edit mode. Let's see if we can drag it. Looks like we can. There we go. So it is possible to rebuild that. I just thought I'd throw that in the end. That's a bit of a freebie bonus there, I guess. We can close that. We can close that. And we're pretty much rocking and rolling there, I think. So that should start Tour de France. And this one here should start the main edition with all the different theming that on it. And this is Cinnamon 21.2, still in beta at the time of this recording. So there you go.